into pop culture, you've probably heard the case of Flo Rida and Celsius, where Flo Rida did a brand deal with them and they are not giving him all the things required within the contract. And we actually have some really cool tips that we can learn as entrepreneurs, as influencers from this case, from what's happening right now to make sure it's not happening to us. So let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, and find out what's going on.
My name is Tony Ilakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we know it's incredibly important for influencers to get the terms written into a contract before they jump into a brand deal, but we don't often think about why that's so important and why that's so valuable. So let's talk a little bit about making sure we get things written down and a recent case that kind of reflects why that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And the case that Cam is referencing is actually just started yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, with Flo Rida. If you are a fan of The Hangover and you know that end credit scene, we're not going to talk about it. But if you know You Spin Me Right Round and all these other songs he's come out with, that's the Flo Rida I'm talking about. And he is actually suing Celsius for breach of contract. And essentially, he had signed an endorsement deal with the Celsius Energy Drink Company where he would be due bonuses, certain payments, royalty payments for sure for use of his music. And it turned out that there were tens of thousands of dollars that he was due as a result of, I guess, unfulfilled promises on Celsius's end. So he's taken them to court, and we have a whole lawsuit underway. We don't know the outcome yet at the time of this recording. But I thought that this could be a good opportunity for me to share with viewers out there who are watching and are in the influencer space, working with brands, big and small, just to emphasize the importance of having things in writing. And then also in the same vein, when something doesn't go right and it's already in writing and you're due something, you have rights that you can enforce. And that's pretty much what we're seeing with the Flo Rida case. So in point number one, always making sure that no matter how big or small the brand is, understanding what terms you're agreeing to. If let's say you've agreed to do an ad campaign or maybe 2 or 3 versions of a campaign with a specific brand, in consideration of, let's say, $5,000 or $10,000, why not have that in writing? I think that that's a sizable enough profit that you're making, so at the very least, you know what you're supposed to commit to, what the brand is supposed to commit to, and everything in between, in terms of the copyright. If you're, let's say, doing a Reels campaign or you're doing something on TikTok on behalf of a brand, who's going to own the copyright to that final product that you're working on? Is it going to be vested with the brand, or is it going to be vested with the yourself, the copyright owner who created that video? In terms of indemnification, we've talked about that before in previous videos. But if, let's say, a claim arose as a result of your participation in an ad campaign, who's going to be on the hook for that? Is it going to be you or the brand? And I think the perfect example of that is yet another brand debacle, Bang Energy Drink, where they had used copyrighted music without licensing,
Right.
and they were in court and they were on the hook for millions of dollars from several music publishers and labels as a result of, of violating what was essentially, copyright infringement. That's really what it was. They didn't secure any licenses from any of the copyright owners. They had used TikTok's in-house music library to use, mainstream music. Sony was the big plaintiff in that case, and they went after them hard and, had to pay up millions of dollars as a result of it. Imagine if a creator working with Bang agreed that they would indemnify Bang for any claims, like a copyright infringement claim of this sort. They would be part of that party spilling out, a lot of money to Bang Energy. So having those types of terms, I think, is essential. And obviously, if you do get a contract and you're not comfortable reading it, or if you were even comfortable reading it, I think just going to a lawyer and having a lawyer read through every last bit of detail is essential to, making sure that you understand what you're agreeing to, what the brand is agreeing to, and even more importantly, understanding what rights you have under that. And then in the same vein, going over to point number 2, when you do have that contract, when you do have that deal between you and the brand, and something does go awry where you're due money or you're due some type of credit or something like that, and it's not fulfilled, what enforcement can you take? Is there a cure clause? We've lightly talked about it again in previous video, but a cure clause is essentially a mitigation tactic where if, let's say, something didn't go right in terms of the execution of that agreement, how many days does the brand or even you have to basically say mea culpa, let me go ahead and fix this before we escalate this to an actual lawsuit or an actual claim. And so if the cure clause isn't satisfied, then the next question is what rights do I have to enforce? What action can I take against this brand? So again, that's where going to a lawyer, asking for their help to peel the layers of that agreement and seeing what rights you can enforce is going to be essential here. And going back to the Flo Rida case, his contract likely had this type of provision that if there was any lack of a satisfaction of the contract on on Celsius's part, that allowed him the right to secure a breach of contract claim against the brand. So I think it's all just to kind of bring it all home together. It's just really important to know that contracts are often teased and looked over because it's a lot of words and who wants to read too much. And in the words of Kevin Malone, why waste time saying a lot word when few word do trick? So I think I understand the essence of reading volumes of legalese, but in the same vein, you don't realize how good and how beneficial a contract can be because you have something memorialized in writing. And if it's written well enough, it certainly can give you the ability to pursue a claim against the brand if they've done some type of wrong to you.
And I think it's so valuable to point out this happened to a major celebrity. This was not like a me-level person or someone who is just jumping into the world of influencing. If they are going to be doing something like that to a celebrity, what makes us think that it's not going to happen to us? So whether or not it is a huge multi-million-dollar deal or you're getting $200 to make a TikTok, it is well worth it to have it in writing and to understand what that writing says to make sure that you can enforce your protections legally so that you are getting paid, you're getting taken care of, you're getting whatever bonuses there, and that people are not abusing the content that you are creating. So Tony, if people are then entering into contracts, the best choice for them is going to be able to reach out to a lawyer and make sure they have those conversations. What's the best way to reach out to a lawyer to have those conversations?
I think just doing some research on, let's say, an influencer an attorney for influencers or content creators, especially since if you're watching this and you're in this space, they have that specialty and that skill. And I think if you were to go to an attorney, usually most of them have a free consultation before you commit to any sort of deal where it's on a retainer basis or you're billed by the hour. I know that there are a lot of attorneys now in this new age of social media where they actually have subscription models where you pay a monthly subscription deal. And I know a lot of them and their business is thriving just well, if not exceptionally well. So I think going to them and saying, hey, look, I have this contract at the time that I signed with a brand. Can you just take a look at it and see what rights I can enforce? And I think laying out every last detail, I would not mince words. Even if there's a shred of detail that doesn't bode well for you, that still could be important to allow the attorney to give you honest advice. And I think any good lawyer is not going to just be your yes man. A good lawyer is designed to look at the facts from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, and be able to say from what details you're sharing from all the records and screenshots and receipts and everything you have, they can look at it from beginning to end and say, you got a case or you don't have a case. And that's the bottom line. Lawyers are due to or have a duty to act ethically, and that's paramount. They're if a lawyer isn't acting ethically, then they're just an ambulance chaser. So the bottom line is you really just have to be honest and candid and share every detail, because that's the only way a lawyer is going to be able to do their job. And if the facts again bode well for you, where the brand did you a disservice, then that could give a lawyer a good chance to perhaps file some correspondence with the brand, get something going, maybe get some type of settlement. Again, do take measures to mitigate before escalating towards some type of full-blown lawsuit.
And if you are in a situation where you have questions, where you need a little bit more guidance, or if you just love this topic and want to learn a little bit more, you can always hang out with Tony on his social medias and drop your questions down below. Tony, where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the IP Professor.
Be sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you don't miss out on upcoming episodes from Tony from the legal perspective of being an influencer and an entrepreneur. Drop any questions you have down below and let us know what other topics do you need help with this year to help you level up inside of your business and make more money but spend less time doing it. We'll see you in the next episode.